Yeah, so first let me look at the glass half full rather than seeing it as half empty. There is a lot of appetite for the European Union right now. In fact, I think it is even underpriced because it is criticized a little bit like, you know, the way you spin your question. European Union is creating discouragement among candidate countries and so on. But it is right now looked as a safe haven for predictability, stability, the rule of law, democracy, and freedom. Because everywhere else in the world, you're seeing some form of backsliding one way or another, or unpredictability, or instability, or uncertainty. And the European Union is an antidote to this evolution of the world that is not good for business, that is not good for people. So Armenia is not alone in its aspiration to join the EU, because joining the EU is not something you do for the money, right? You do it because you crave for democracy and freedom. When you're a candidate country, what's the toughest part? It's not the economic convergence or the social convergence. The toughest part is to align with the EU standards in terms of respect of the rule of law, democracy, freedom, freedom of the press, independence of research, independence of justice. This is a treasure that is going to see its value increase at a fast pace in the next few years. And so Armenia is not alone among countries that are looking at the EU as a guarantee for democracy, guarantee for freedom moving forward. Now, of course, as I said, this is a difficult process. It's a difficult process to reach the EU standards in terms of the rule of law. And so it's taking some time, and sometimes people are getting frustrated. And this is what we've seen in some countries in the Western Balkans. We are going to see in the next few years, in the very near future, some countries from the Western Balkan reach the end of their accession process. I think that Montenegro is making a very significant process. Albania is making great progress. And they will serve as examples for the other countries of the region that are willing to follow suit. But I agree also that it's the responsibility of the EU to work with candidate countries to facilitate the public acceptability of the efforts that need to be made until the accession is reached. And that's the spirit in which we've been supporting the European Peace Facility for Armenia. That's the spirit in which we've entered into a discussion on visa liberalization. And that's the spirit in which we're going to facilitate, if indeed Armenia becomes a candidate country, its gradual accession to some of the dimensions of the single market, so that the citizens, but also the authorities in Armenia, realize that their efforts will not be in vain, and that there are tangible benefits to the accession, and that even before the whole process is completed. So in summary, the EU is currently underpriced, but countries that are facing huge threat in their neighborhood know the value of democracy and freedom, and that's the reason why they're looking in the direction of the EU. The times we're living through, where we're seeing some more instability, more uncertainty, is giving even more value to the EU accession process, but it's also the responsibility of the EU to make sure that candidate countries deserve special treatment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barrault. Unfortunately, we've reached the end of our discussion, and obviously we were unable to have an exhaustive debate on the huge topic. Unfortunately, we won't have time for further discussion. We will move on to